in, but we do wear at that point. So God just kept giving us little by little parts to the puzzle. And so now we currently have a home in Cambodia called Esther's House. It's a beautiful place. We have 16 girls right now in the home, and we just had 2 baby boys born. I'll tell you more about them in a minute. And we also have a home in Vietnam. Our home in Vietnam is for boys and girls. We have 7 kids in that home. The criteria to come in that home is different. Vietnam is very different than actually in Cambodia, even though they're neighboring countries. Different governments, different situations. But in Vietnam, we have one little boy that's there. He's 11 years old. His parents both died of AIDS. He has AIDS. So he's my champ. He's an amazing little guy. And then we have kids that maybe have had parents that have been heroin addicts, and some of them have been born as heroin, addicts. And we have kids that moms on drugs and trying to find her kids so she can sell them for her drug habit. And so we have kids hiding in our home so that dad can make a living and not have to keep running from the mom that's trying to get their kids. And the list goes on and on. So we have various different situations with our kids in Vietnam, but it's really a place where kids can come and be safe and grow up and be loved. And so we consider them, they're just very, very special kids. And in Cambodia, it's a girls' home that we have, and it's more specific criteria. Basically, girls that have been through trafficking, sex trafficking, human labor of some sort, slave labor, rape, or some kind of violent acts to them would be who would come into our home in Cambodia. And it's a long-term care. When we were over there, we saw that a lot of people were rescuing and doing those kinds of things in that country because it was needed, but there wasn't a lot of people taking care of the kids afterwards. And they're not toys and they're not puppies, they're real people, and they need to be taken care of. And so when we went over, we met with people, we looked around, and we said, somebody's got to take care of these babies. There's people getting them out, but there's not a lot of people taking care of them. Taking care of them takes money, takes effort, takes time, takes a lot of resources to do that. But we said that's what we want to start at first, is to do that. And so that's when we started Esther's House. And we started with one girl and her 2 little siblings and another, and now we're up to 16 girls in our home. And it's going fantastic. It's amazing. We have amazing staff, amazing treasures in our house. I'll give you maybe a testimony or 2 of things that have happened there. What time do we get done? So I know. Funny. Seriously.
No, really.
Really?
We're hungry. We'll wait.
All right. All right. You guys are eating. Yeah, you're good. So take a nap if you want. We can wake you up at dessert. Anyway, so one of our girls, I'll give you an example. I have a video, but I know we don't have a way to show it here, but Kim Chai is her name, and a sweetheart. She came into our home at 16 years old, just a few months ago, and Kim Chai was actually pregnant with twin boys when she came in. She was our first girl to come in that was pregnant, and so we love, she's precious. Now, she's pregnant because of her step-grandfather. And he had actually 3 years prior done the same thing to her as he did to her older sister. And when he did what he did to her older sister, she couldn't take it, and she actually ended her own life. And so here now, this little girl, Kim Chai, comes in the picture, and we were able to intervene and get there at a time where she was very vulnerable to those things, and maybe even falling into her sister's footsteps. But we were able to get involved, and you think that's a tragic situation, how horrible, how much her family is not like that. It's really hard sometimes for me to convey stories to you because it's a different culture. They have a different mindset, it's a different understanding of life and everything over there in other countries. And so sometimes it's really hard to explain it, but let me just say this. The family was not upset with the grandfather. They're upset with her. Because why? Well, because when the grandfather gets in trouble and he has to go into jail, that's where their money comes from. Because he's the one making the money.
Right.
So they're not upset with him, they're upset with her that they've taken the money maker out of the family. And pressure her to want to say, no, let him out. He needs to make money. girl's a champion. And she said, no, I'm not doing it. Beyond all the manipulation, all the threats, those things, she said, I'm going to keep these babies. And so just about 2 weeks ago, she was still in the middle of pregnancy, and she had a medical emergency. So I was actually still here. I got the call, and they had to take her, rush her into the hospital, and do an emergency C-section. And she had the 2 baby boys. One was 2.6 pounds, one was 3.7 pounds. And if you've ever seen medical in other countries, it's not like America. It's not at all like America. It's completely different. There is not very good medical over there. It's bad. And so when you have regular situations, okay, but when you have really dire situation, the chance of survival, especially in something like this, is very, very low. The skill level of their medical professionals is very, very low over there. And so our boys were fighting, and the youngest, or the smallest one, was really having a hard time breathing and everything, and in fact, even at that weight, began losing weight, both of them, and that's dangerous. And but we saw people come together and pray and believe and declare. And I can give you a report as of 3 days ago, both boys are doing fantastic. Real miracle. They're gaining weight. They're doing well. Mom's doing awesome. She named them Joshua and Caleb. Come on. And absolutely. We believe that's part of it. We're not just there for an individual, we're there for a nation. I'll talk about that in a minute. But we believe that these are going to be children that are going to grow up and be leaders and influencers in their nation. And what a cool way that she just declared that over her and her, starting a new legacy in life. Saying, no, we're not going to go with the old legacy. We're going to start a new one and name it Joshua and Caleb. So pretty cool situation. And we have another little girl that had been in our home for quite a while. And sweetheart, very reserved, quiet, but sharp, very sharp. And we had a team from Reading actually out a few weeks ago, and 67 people, big team, big mission team that came over with us. And at the same time, we had a team from Mountain View, just 5 people, but all at the same time. And so in the midst of this, we one of the teams wanted to take all of our kids out to a water park. There's actually a water park in the capital in Cambodia, and the kids have never seen or done anything like that. It's beyond their even imagination until they see it. They can't even, they can't believe what it's like, because they come from such rural areas. And so they take them out, and then we have a great day. And at the end, the team just prays over each one. They pray, they prophesy, just pray over every girl, house moms, all that. They prayed over this little girl, and that night she went home, went to bed, and she had a dream. Jesus showed up in her dream and gave her a worship song. It was a song she knew. Gave her the song and gave her a choreographed dance to that song. And she didn't tell anybody. She sat and didn't tell anybody. Nobody knows this. The next day, our other team's there, and they go, we want to have a movie day with these girls. Okay, great. And they don't know anything about movies. Like Moana, Frozen, all these popular movies, they don't have a clue. They don't see TV, they don't have anything. But they wanted to show them Moana, so they had a copy of Moana. You guys heard of Moana, the movie? Animated show. And so the next day they go and they show this with the girls. They all sit together. And this little girl that had the dream the night before, she watches this movie. And in the middle of the movie, she sees something she's never seen before. She sees a girl being powerful. She sees a girl being a leader in her nation. A little girl that can be something and be strong and be influential and not pushed aside or shut down. And it transformed her life. Seeing an animated movie on Moana and watching for the first time a girl being powerful in her nation. And so when the movie was over, that's when she got the boldness to proclaim what had happened the night before. Nobody had known, but it gave her the courage to express about the dream and what happened. And in front of everybody there, which she would never ever do in the past, began to do this dance for everybody in the place that Jesus had given her the night before the dream. Come on, that's good stuff. That's right. So that's fun. You get to see these transformations in these lives, and these kids literally come in, and days you're seeing transformation. We had one little girl, I don't have pictures with me, but she's 12 years old. She looks like she's about 6 or 7. She's a little tiny thing. She lived in a very poor province. When we brought her in, she had scars all down her chest where she had been scalded with hot water. When she came in, she didn't know what utensils were, chopsticks, nothing. She didn't know what vegetables and fruits were because she lived her whole life on salt and rice. That was all she was ever given. She would be beaten and thrown into a corner. She spoke up about anything, and so she was in this complete broken down shell of a child. And I got to tell you, within days, I wish I could do the video, because within days you can see the before and after of this little girl just coming into a home of love. Our home, we're not an institution, we're a family. We're a place. And when they come into a family, and they experience family and unconditional love for the first time, it is amazing. It does more than years of counseling. It does more than all kinds of therapy. I mean, just being in a presence of a place where you know that you belong. And for the first time, it's amazing for these kids. And so we're just seeing story after story after story of these little young girls that are just being totally rocked and transformed and walking in who their daddy created them to be. And that's what we want. That's what we want for them. So that's a little bit of testimony for you, an update on the house. Let's see, I'm trying to think of what else I have. Oh, I was going to show you. We had this last year. I think it was after I was here last. We had an organization here from California, and they work all around the world and with children and orphans and different things. And they had a lady in Ethiopia that would sew dolls for their organizations. They would do sponsorship. So they paid and sent this Ethiopian lady out to spend 3 months with us towards the end of last year and teach our girls how to sew. It was amazing. And so they now are sewing all kinds of stuff. I'm going to show you the dolls. So we do a sponsorship, child sponsorship. The only way you get the dolls is if you're a child sponsor. So, but our girls are actually making these dolls now, which is so fun. I'll show you one. I think all they have is boy dolls. But isn't that cool? That's our girls make those. Isn't that neat? They started with nothing. They started, I think, in September last year. Didn't know a clue. And this is their first ones. I thought they did a fantastic job. So they are learning. Now they're making pillowcases and blankets and all kinds of stuff. And we actually pay them. It's a cool thing. So we take the stuff here. We can sell it in America. The idea that somebody in America would want something they make blows them away. I mean, the idea of that just... They can't even comprehend that somebody in America would actually want something that they created. But then we pay them out of it. And the cool thing is that they learn to take out for electricity, for materials, fixing the machines, more materials and all that. So they're actually not just getting paid to do this, but they're actually getting to learn real life skills. And they're having fun doing it. And it's a cool thing. Yeah, so... I feel like so much has been developing since we were here last with you guys, and because you guys have been with us through the journey since even before the journey. And I remember coming and and speaking here with that dream of, I don't know where we're going, I don't know what we're doing, but we want to help kids somewhere in the world. I remember coming to visit and saying that, and just saying, I know what, I'm going to. It may not seem like much, but I'm going to tell you my dream. And if it's just I want to help some kids somewhere in the world, and that's all you know right now, then talk about your dream, And as you do it, it just keeps coming. And so you guys have really been with us through the journey and to where we are. So we're doing great with it. We're wanting to expand. We're looking at maybe actually doing a building project soon to get our own property and extra land, and we're doing sustainable projects. So between aquaponics and farming fish and cricket farms and all kinds of stuff. They eat crickets over there, so hey, it works. And so all kinds of stuff. And so that's a little update on Esther Salas and what we're doing. Another cool thing, I'll get in with this, and I got some things on my heart to share with you. But another cool thing the Lord did, if you guys that have seen my family, you know my son Cole, and he loves baseball. He is a baseball. He wants to be a professional. He wants to play for the Giants, and he wants to be a catcher. Buster Posey is his favorite guy, and he wants to be a catcher for the San Francisco Giants. I mean, it's been his dream since he was 4, He's now 10, and it's not shaking. It's only gotten more intense. And so being over there, it's difficult because you're not in a country that plays baseball. Well, we kind of just reached out to see if anybody was doing something. Didn't hear anything for like a year, and all of a sudden we get a word back. And over there they have ministries, and the heads of the ministries are called the Excellency, because they have a king in the country, and so they kind of have that kind of verbiage in their country a lot. They love to honor the king. And so we get contacted by the Excellency of the Ministry of Sports Education of the country of Cambodia. Contacts Jessica and I and says, hey, will you teach our kids how to play baseball?
Come on!
It's like way cool, because it's our passion. It's my passion. My wife is the one with the skill. She played basketball, softball in college. She was on scholarship for Southern Missouri State. And so she's got the actual skill. I just have the passion, you know. I played a little bit, but anyway, so because in this whole thing about trafficking and all that, you know, trafficking doesn't define what I do over there. I'll get jumping ahead a little bit. It's something that we do, but it's not who we are. It's important that we do that. And even in our part about the rehabilitation, reintegration, and all that, you know, to me, if you are really good at being a part of this issue of social justice or restoring girls, like being good at restoration of girls that have been trafficked, if I'm really good at that, and I'm not trying to stop it, then I'm just a really good part of the problem. Because I'm really good at what I'm doing as long as there's still more girls being trafficked. Does that make sense? So what we want to do is not only be a part of that, but we want to be a part of seeing it stopped in the first place. And how do you do that? It's hard. Most ministries don't, because frankly there's no money in it. People don't donate to that. They donate to rescuing because that sounds good, right? But how can I prove that this child that I just reached this week would have ever been there? Can't prove it. So if you can't prove it, it's hard to get people motivated to get involved in it. But let me tell you, we go into high schools that are 7th to 12th graders, 4,000 to 6,000 kids in a high school, and we get to go and bring baseball to these kids. We get them coming out in the droves. These are the kids that are going to be making those decisions really soon. Some may be making decisions to be a perpetrator. Some may be making decisions to work in a karaoke bar. I don't know, but these are the ones that are going to be stepping up and being in that place in the next year or two. And we get to be in a place with them, not just to talk. We have great influence with them because we're coaches, and they respect that. They listen to us, not just about baseball, but about life. And the cool thing about it is, in the government in Cambodia, there's 2 believers in the entire government. The ministry, the Excellency of Sports, is one of them. And so he gives us full reign to bring Jesus into everything we do over there. So how cool is that? That we get to reach kids, not only that have been through it, but we get to reach kids before they ever get to it and help share with them and express to them and point them to their identity and to a dad that loves them. Man, it's awesome. Plus, we get influence with the government. We got a government official that when he has issues and problems and concerns, he comes to us for advice and input. So it's pretty cool. That's how it's working out over there. And anyway, so I just wanted to share with you some of the good things that are happening in Cambodia. You guys, open invitation. Everyone come visit. So.
I'm in. Yeah.
Awesome. Let's go.
Still hot as it was before?
Oh, it's hot as ever. Yeah, it's always hot. It's either hot and dry or hot and wet. Right now it's hot and wet. It's monsoon season right now. So, in fact, the reason my whole family didn't come back on this trip is we usually come back in May and June every year. And so this last year, finally, my boys said, Dad, when we leave Cambodia, it's hot. When we get to America, it's hot. We want cold weather. So I said, okay, you wait a year and a half and we'll bring you back at Christmas. So we're actually coming back in December, our whole family, and it'll be our first Christmas in America in a year. So my youngest has spent most of his life over there. I don't think he has probably experienced weather below 82 or 84 degrees in probably at least 4 years. Probably 4 years since he's experienced weather under the mid-80s. So we're taking him to Michigan. He's never asked for cold weather. He doesn't want to come back again. Back to Cambodia. So we're going to take him. We're not even going to jacket. We're just going to throw him out there. today. A little bit about mission, about our assignment in life, about just what stirred in me. You know, Jesus gave us a couple kind of commissions, if you will. He said to go into nations and make disciples in nations. But he also said to make disciples of nations. Two different things. They're very different things, actually. Like when we're in Cambodia and Vietnam, I don't go there looking to just make disciples in the nation. I actually believe that I'm there for the nation. Not just for people in the nation, but get this. I'm not going to make disciples of nations unless I make disciples in nations. Because when I make disciples in nations, it carries the seed of transformation for the nation.
Come on.
Does that make sense?
Come on.
So I can't have the one without the other. But my mindset is not just on the one. My mindset is on the one, but it's on the nation as a whole. I want to see nations transformed. I believe when Jesus said in Psalm 2, the Father said, ask of me, I'll give you the nations as your inheritance. I actually believe he meant that. I don't believe it was just a theory or just a metaphor. I actually believe that he wants to give us nations for an inheritance. And here's the cool thing that I've realized since being over there is this. You can't give an inheritance unless it belongs to you.
Come on.
Right? Right. So I realized that when Daddy's given me Cambodia as an inheritance, that means it already belongs to him.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So I don't have to work for it.
Yes.
I'm actually, when people say, I don't feel like a missionary most of my life. The two main times I feel like a missionary are when I have a missions team, short-term team come over and visit us in Cambodia or Vietnam, and when I'm here talking to people, right, in churches and stuff. Otherwise, when we're there, I don't feel like I'm really there doing life. I feel like I'm just living my inheritance. Because Cambodia is my inheritance. Dad gave it to me. So it's not like a striving thing. It's just living life. Like baseball. I didn't strive for it. We just live life. And it's like, yeah, cool, baseball in Cambodia. It's awesome. And that's kind of how we do it. We don't like, I got to do this. We live life. We're living in what we feel like Dad said, no, this is your inheritance. We're just going to live life in it. And enjoy my inheritance. How many think we should enjoy our inheritance? So I'm not there fighting. Have fun. I'm living in my inheritance. Dad said, Dad, that's yours. Yeah, that's yours. So there's two different things in that, but I think it's important. A lot of times in our assignment, we all have assignments in life. All of us. God has an assignment for every one of you. He has an assignment for your life. It's specifically for your life. I believe that. I believe that. He wants to walk with us and talk with us and partner with us, but he has something in mind for our life. I believe it. And many times, though, and for us, we view our assignment through our giftings, not our calling. Two different things. There's giftings and callings. And many times we view what we're going to do in life and with God through our giftings. And it's not a bad thing. What I would propose to you is there may be more. A calling, when you walk in your gifting, you will receive honor. But when you walk in your calling, you receive honor. Because when you walk in your calling, you're walking many times in your weakness. Calling has nothing to do with you're good at it. It's that that's what I'm supposed to be doing. This is where I'm supposed to be at. It has nothing to do with how good you feel and how prepared you are. It has to do with Dad says, okay, let's go here. Okay, I'm going here, Dad. It has to do with I'm going to do what I hear the Father do, say what I hear the Father say. And that may not be in my gifting. And when it's not, it's great because it has to be Him. He gets the glory for it when we shine in our weakness in His power. Does that make sense to you guys? And so it doesn't mean we won't walk in our giftings in life. Well, let's not limit Dad. That He can only use me, walk with me, partner with me in my giftings. I believe it's more than that. I believe it's more than that. I believe our assignments are bigger than that. He talks about pouring out His Spirit, giving His Spirit without measure, giving us authority. And I believe He wants, come on. If He's going to do all that, if we're moving in our giftings, how much do we need it? Right? But I believe our assignment is big enough that He gives us those things so that we can do things in our weakness. Come on. Come on. That's right. Yeah. So, You know, what's my point? And my point is that I believe Dad wants us to really take risks in life. I believe that when we walk in weakness, we have obstacles that we on our own can't overcome. And we need breakthrough. Because it's not easy, because it's not in my tool belt. It's not in my, my gift belt, But when we get breakthrough, then we carry authority in that area.
Yes. Amen.
Every time we get breakthrough in those areas, we carry an authority in that area. And I believe that's something that He wants to do with us. There's an interesting word, and so when I say that, for us in Cambodia, let me just use that as an example. When it comes to being a missionary, whatever you want to call what we're doing with, people say, oh, you're just gifted for that. Oh, you just got that gift. I have never seen or heard a missionary gifting. It has nothing to do with gifting. I am not, believe me, I am not gifted to do what we do over there at all. And as a matter of fact, when you sit there with these little girls and you go through what they've gone through, it's not a gift, it's a choice. It's a choice. Because believe me, it's not easy. When I sit and with our counselors and with our social workers and we go through the cases with our girls and talk, because I like to be involved in it. We have Cambodians run everything. We believe in empowering them to do it all. But I'm involved. We're there. They're our babies, And I got to be honest with you, man. I got to stay away from Facebook when I'm in the middle of those times. Because it messes me up. And man. So I'm in those moments and then I see the stuff that gets on Facebook. I'm not in the right space, man. I lose it. Honestly, I do. It's not a gifting to do all this. It's not a gifting. It's a choice. And I'll refrain my vocabulary. It stinks though. It is. There's a lot of it's not fun walking with these babies through these things. And somebody's got to do it. And I'm not waiting for somebody gifted for it. There's somebody gifted for it, more power to them. I'm not. But we choose to go. We choose to go. But it's an interesting thing when we're talking about making disciples of nations. Here's an interesting thing in Jesus when He was here on earth walking around. There was two words that He used that were actually not Hebrew words. And it's a peculiar thing. They're derived from Greek and Roman culture. And it's interesting because when He used the words, they would probably have been very offensive to the Jews at that time. Because most everything He talked about was in their language and their terms and parables and things that they would understand. But here's the two words. One of them was apostle and one was church. Interesting. Interesting that He's getting ready. These two things are getting launched. And they weren't even Hebrew words that He used to describe them. And if I could today, just to maybe talk about one of them, and that's apostle. It's an interesting word. It actually was used in the Roman culture. It was actually what happened was when Rome was conquering the land, and they would conquer a new territory, they would take it and they would enslave the people and all. They would hold on to the territory, but what they found was that the people, even though they were captured and enslaved, they still moved and functioned in their old culture. And so they would send out apostles. And the apostle was like a Roman general. And he would come with an entourage into those territories once they would conquer them. And the entourage of scribes and all kinds of people, so what they would do would set up that territory, that conquered land, just like it was in Rome. So that if the emperor ever came, it would be there as it is in Rome. He wouldn't feel like it was any different. And I believe, and I'm not caught up on the title or the thing. I'm interested in the function, in the action. Not title. Titles don't mean yeah. But I do believe that in that sense, in nations, as we go into nations, whether it be Cambodia or Thailand or Vietnam or America, I don't care where, but the idea is to come in and that it would be on earth as it is in heaven. That it would be an arena where when the King comes, it will look just the same. They'll be the same on earth as it is in heaven. And so that's kind of, I believe, it's a, I call it a mindset, certainly in me, in our calling in Cambodia, that our calling isn't just about social justice. It's not just about baseball. It's about seeing heaven's culture coming to another culture. And I don't get how many people, what about American culture? I'm not talking about an American culture. I'm not talking about America's culture. People don't need America's culture.
Amen.
That does more damage than good. It's fine for here. Keep it for America. But other cultures have got their own thing going. But here's the deal. I respect and I honor cultures, but if there's something in a culture, whether it be an American culture or in Cambodia or Vietnam culture, that is contrary to his culture, and they fair again to bring his culture into that environment.
Good word.
Right?
Yes, yes.
Sickness is not in his culture.
That's right, that's right, that's right.
Not there. When Jesus saw the sick, he brought heaven to earth, healed the sick. When he grabbed the coin out of the fish's mouth, provision, right? Because there's always provision in heaven. Right? When he grabbed the 5,000, heaven to earth, there's abundance, there is no lack in heaven. Here's heaven to earth, heaven to earth. And that's how I aspire, I want it to be. Am I there? Not there. I don't have any answers for it. I'm just trying to figure it out as we go. But here's that's my heart in it, is to see his kingdom come into this earth. And want to see it influence nations, influence government, influence education, influence business, influence the church, all of it. But I believe that Dad wants us to be influencers of nations.
Yes.
Do we neglect the one? No. Because that will carry the seed to the nation. But I think that it's important that we keep a mindset of more than just the one, but of seeing nations transform.
Come on.
I believe that. Are you guys okay so far?
Yes.
So, it takes vision. If your vision for your life is something that you can accomplish on your own, it's too small of a vision.
That's right.
Likewise, if your vision is something that you can accomplish with you and Jesus, it's still too small. Vision should have you, Jesus, and people. It's about people. It's more than just you and him. It's about people. If you want to see nations transform, it's going to take more than you and Jesus. It's going to take you, Jesus, and people. Yeah, it is. When I used to get vision, Dad would download vision to me. In His grace, He would do it mercifully and little at a time. But you know what I would do? When He'd show me vision, something else that would stir in me and something to do, my first thing was, am I smart enough? And what's my bank account say? Is there enough money or not? Seriously. My vision was based on my bank account. Come on. I'm willing, but my bank account says no. You know? And then I realized something in the process of all this was that it wasn't about that. It's about people. In Habakkuk, it talks about that. It talks about writing the vision down. I used to tell people, I used to preach it, Bob. Write it down. Keep a notebook by the side of your bed.
Yeah.
And when God shows you something, write that down on those tablets. And then I read it a little closer and it said, so people can see it and run with it. How many of you are in my nightstand looking at my notes? So how are you going to see it and run with it when I'm writing it in the nightstand?
Guess who's running?
it's the tablet that he's talking about is the tablet of your heart. All through Old Testament and New Testament, it refers to tablets of the heart. But that's costly. That's risky. And when you write it here, everybody can see it. But when you do that, people will see it and run with it. And that's what it's about. Vision has to do with people. Not you and Dad. You, Dad, and people. Now, when I get vision for something new going on, the first thing I do is say, who's supposed to be involved? I don't look at the bank account. I don't look at my abilities. I don't look at the circumstance. I go, okay, Dad, show me who's supposed to be involved in this.
Yes.
To me, first and foremost, it's people. And he brings the people. And when the people come, the resources, everything you need and more. The gifts, the talent, all those things. The time, all that comes flooding in. But I look for the people. It's about people. It is. Some of us say, well, this is just how I am. That's good. But the better you are with communicating with people, the more you will do.
Yes.
Because it's going to take people that aren't like you. How many of us like to hang out with the people that are like us? Yeah, we get along really well. You know, I know I'm off on a tangent now, but I was writing down earlier, Bob and I have been friends for a long time. And you know what? I thought about it. We were talking last night about a frequency. You carry a frequency. And people are drawn to that. But you know, I thought about my life. I thought, you know, there's people that I influence. And there's people that influence me. But there's this rare group, that I influence and they also influence me. And there's a frequency there. There's a closeness there. And I'm looking for this. There's many times there's people I influence. I may never see them again. And there's people that have no clue who I am. And there's something they say or do or something that influences me. And I may never see them or meet them again. But then there's those people in your life that you influence and influence you back. And I thought about that with you, Bob. And what's cool about that, we were talking about callings and stuff, and what I felt like was when you have those people, your calling is their calling, and their calling is yours. You actually get to be a part of all of it. It's like exponential and way cool, because you get to be a part of things that maybe you would never have been a part of on your own. And anyways, that's kind of cool. Just during worship today, I was just thinking about those things. But I'll finish with this. We talk about taking risks, making disciples of nations, walking in our calling, which will mean walking in weakness, facing obstacles that we don't have the ability to overcome on our own because we don't have the giftings to do it. That all sounds good and exciting. But let me tell you, some of you know, from my own experience, it is scary and terrifying at the same time. It is. It can be real terrifying, those things. So it sounds real good, I get excited about it, and I do, but most of my life I live excited and terrified all at the same time. That's how I live. I live excited and terrified. I'm excited when I talk about going into a building project to get land. That's exciting. Oh, it is equally as terrifying for me. It is. I've never done that before. $200,000 building project to build a new property for our kids. I've never done that before. I'm looking for the people, right? I'm looking for the people. Who's supposed to be involved in this? Who's supposed to join this? Here for me, and I'll finish with this, is the core pillar, I guess, of who I am and what I do and where I go. What allows me to be me with Dad in life is one thing. There are many things that I have questions of. I don't know if you're like me, I have questions. I feel like when I see him face to face, I'm going to have lots of questions. I also feel like when I see him, those questions will probably just go away. And I won't have them anymore. But right now I have questions. But there's a thing that I never, ever question. Never. One thing that always remains sure and true to me. It's a combo of this. God is a Father. Matthew 6, Jesus taught us to pray. That means He And He's always good. Even in the midst of tragedy, trauma, and turmoil, I have lots of questions. I question why. I question all kinds of things. But I never question that He's good. It's never a question. It's never a thought. I know He is. That is the assurance that I take when I step into those crazy, risky, terrifying realms that sometimes we go in. It's dangerous sometimes. But that's the one thing I carry. The examples I have two examples of it that to me are very profound in my life. And one is my own sons. My boys, when they were just learning to walk, they're probably, I don't know what it is, Mom's probably 10 months, 11 months old. They start kind of crawling and start trying to walk. And we have stairs in the house. And as a parent, that's like terrifying, right? When the kids, like you love when they start crawling, and then you realize, oh, this is a bigger responsibility. It's all fun, we got excited, and now they're into everything. Now I got to, child protect the whole house, and then they start walking there, oh, they can reach a doorknob now. Okay, that was fun, but now there's more, it gets scary. So you have stairs, and so I remember just watching my boys, both of them, when they were little and just learning, and they're like trying to navigate the stairs, and you're right with them, but they're trying to do this thing on their own, and they finally like get on their butt and just kind of scoot sometimes, or they do whatever, But you can take the same stairs, same danger, same obstacle, same challenge, take the same child with the same ability and talent and gifting, all that, and I can take that child and put his hand into mine. Same situation, and all of a sudden, my son becomes Superman. Same stairs, same child, but now he's just like, woo, wah, and starts jumping. And dad's like this, and he's just jumping, leaping down the stairs. What's different? He knows daddy, he's got a good daddy who's got his hand, he's not going to let him go. That's the only thing different. All the circumstances are the same. Except now he's got a daddy that's holding his hand. And he knows isn't going to let him go. And really, that's the core for my life of what we do. I go into crazy places. I look at it and I think, what are you doing? And it's one thing for you, but then when you start thinking, like your wife, your children. Oh, it's one thing, us guys, no problem. I can do it. I'll do anything, Dad. Okay, what about your little baby boy? Okay, now you're stepping on toes. Now you're messing. Right? True deal. So what keeps me solid? I got a good daddy. And he's got me by the hand. Got me by the hand. You see, sometimes it's hard for us to realize we have a good father. I know people, we know that Jesus is Lord, He's Savior, He's amazing, He died on the cross, He shed His blood, He forgave me of all my sin, and I love Jesus. But I literally have friends that have been believers for a long time. I've talked to them about Father. They go, don't talk to me about a good dad. My dad was horrible. I love Jesus, but I will never look at God as a father because of what my dad did in my life. And they see Jesus as this amazing guy, but they can't see Father as being good. But here's the problem with that. Jesus said, when you see me, you see Him.
That's right.
I say what I hear the Father say. I do what I see the Father do. If I'm in Him, He's in me. You see me, you're seeing Him. In fact, in Jesus' walk on earth, He referred to Dad more than He referred to the cross. He did. More in His ministry did He say. He didn't say, look at the cross as much as He said, look at Dad. Look at Dad. So I can't separate the two. What's that tell me? That when I see the life of Jesus and how He lived and how He reacted and acted, I have to know that that is a direct example, revelation of Dad and His heart. And one of the greatest places I see that is when it's the story we all know, but it's the disciples in the boat. And Jesus walks on the water. We all know the story. But think about it with me. Here's Jesus, and He's walking out on the water. And He comes up to this boat with the disciples. He didn't say, Peter, come. He just said, come. He gave an invitation to everybody in the boat. But only one chose to get out.
Yes.
And think about Peter getting out of the boat. How risky is that? There is no paradigm for that. In fact, you're freaking out that it's Jesus and so on. This is freaky. We haven't seen this happen before. There's no YouTube. Oh, I saw that before. I'm going to try it, you know. He hasn't seen this happen before. And Jesus telling him to do something that he is not like, oh, I heard about a missionary doing that one time somewhere in the middle of Africa or so. No. He's never seen this, heard this, nothing. First time deal. Jesus says, come. And the dude, you can knock Peter all you want, but the dude got out of the boat.
Come on.
Got out of the boat. And he walked. And then he failed. And he sank. The disciples say, look, told you. Stupid. He got an experience none of them ever got.
That's right.
And look at Jesus. Did Jesus go, dummy? I was kidding. You're stupid. What are you doing? Shh. Hope you know how to swim. He didn't, did he? What did he do?
Reached out.
He reached out.
Yes.
He reached out. Even in his failure, even in his sinking, even in his taking his eyes off. Dad's heart. Dad's heart. Jesus was showing Dad's heart.
Yes.
Reach down. Grab him up.
Yes.
Is that resonating? That is, for me, how I go and do what I do. Is I go in life with, to the best of my ability, with an understanding that even in mistakes, even in disobedience, we don't even like to say that, is obey. Absolutely. Are we supposed to obey? Absolutely. Of course. Okay. My point is this, even if I got a bad heart, Dad's not turning his back on me.
Come on.
My son has a bad heart, I don't turn my back, I get going farther.
Come on.
I get more tenacious with him. Out of anger? No, out of love.
Yes.
Oh, I want to get that heart back. When I see it, the worse my son's heart is on an issue, the more I'm going for it.
Come on.
I don't get more distant from him. I get closer. I get closer because it's my son. We're having that conversation yesterday about it, you know. I mean, we're constantly, you know, don't let, you know, how can, he heard somebody's brother saying that he hated his brother, and we talked about it. How do you think that happens, son? Because it's those little times where I talk to you, son, and you get mad at your brother, but I don't let it slide and get a heart right. Because when we don't, in those little things, pretty soon they get more and more and more, and pretty soon those little things that you were mad about now become hate. Dad doesn't get more distant when son is out of line. I get closer. And how much more does Dad, our Father? So, ignorance, accidents, see there? Absolutely. Even if I make a mistake on purpose, Dad's still there. He just is. He's Dad. He's good. So he's never going to leave you. He's never going to stop. He's never going to take his hand back. No, he's Dad. Make sense? Yes. Awesome. Whew. That's yeah. My throat's a little scratchy. You probably can hear it because I've been talking a lot. This is the end of the trip, so coming down to it. It's lasting. So what do we do with that? I guess my thing is this. Figure out what calling is. And don't limit it to the gifts. Gifts are